Okay, we're here with Fred Cuthbert of Wolfhound Cycles. He's out of Talent, Oregon, near Ashland. And Fred, you have some really interesting designs, your frames. You've got this wishbone kind of seat stay, a lot of curvy angles, lots of, your rear seat stays are curved. Tell us about your inspiration for these designs that you have for your frames.
Well, I try and have a functional argument for every curve, even though admittedly a lot of it is for beauty. The wishbone seat tube is something I started doing for 29ers to get a shorter chainstay for quicker handling, easier to pull the front end up.
How does it make a shorter chainstay? Because you can.
Well, if you see the angle is increased quite a bit.
Yeah.
This would weld in like right there.
Yep.
And by doing it this way, I was able to also increase pedaling stiffness pretty good. It also features pressed in bearings for the cranks.
Yep.
And I'm able to upgrade to 4 bearings with that design, usually depending on which crankset it is.
Yep.
This one has an integrated chain guide for a 1x9.
Yep.
That's an MR.
Can you run a derailleur on these? Or
I've made them to run with the derailleur, but you end up not really gaining much as far as making the chainstay shorter.
Yep.
Just because the derailleur starts rubbing the tire and it just kind of quits working.
Yep.
Well.
Now you work exclusively with steel, right?
Yes.
Everything's custom steel.
Yes.
Actually, I want to walk around to the other side because he's got a frame that's in the raw, and it's a really interesting frame too. Tell us about this one. I really like what you did. Is this like an oversized bolt-on axle, 15 mil?
Axle.
15 millimeter axle custom, 20 millimeter.
20, yeah.
And what is the inspiration for this? Like any vintage style bike?
Yes.
This almost looks like a fuselage from a motorcycle. Tell us about this.
Like I said, I like to have a functional argument for each curve. This is the only bike so far that I've done that was based off of a retro style. It's for my web designer, Jason Van Horn, who he's got all kinds of bikes. He's pretty heavily into free riding, but he wanted all mountain geometry and he wanted a very retro style. Yep. He basically, we made up the bike CAD draft and got the numbers, the geometry figured out, and then he photoshopped the top tube curve over the top of that he wanted, and then he said just be free in between and just something. Basically, he said try and show off your
You've definitely done that, man.
So he got the ultra one-of-a-kind.
And this is internally routed cabling, looks like?
Yeah, it's a 1x9 compatible single speed, or vice versa, I suppose.
So is this a signature for all your frames? Are all your frames built with this wishbone, or is this just a kind of a special thing?
It costs extra.
It costs extra?
Yeah.
So do you do 29er specifically, or do you also do 26-inch and other? I
will usually do about whatever they order, but I have only 29ers on the books right now. So apparently that's my niche, yeah.
How long have you been doing the 29ers for?
Well, since I went to bike school in 2001.
Yep.
Built a 29er there, and since then, I've done a few 26-inch wheel bikes. I've done a handful of road bikes, but the 29er thing, just kind of the heavy-duty 29er for all kinds of riding. About half of them are single speeds. Maybe a third of them are with rigid forks.
Yep. What do you ride? Do you ride a 29er?
Oh yeah, 1x9, very similar to that green bike.
Yep.
But I'm about due for a new one because I don't have all my new advancements on my own bike yet. So
you need to make yourself one of these, I think.
Yeah, that was too much of a headache.
Well, it's easier to do now. You've already built one, right?
I guess. Just scared me away is what it did. But cool. It was a gratifying project once it was done, because about 3 times as many hours in that frame as one of the other ones.
Yeah, oh, you can tell. You can definitely tell with all the detail, the lug work. These are beautiful bikes, Fred.
Thank
Appreciate
you. Thank you,
Wolfhound Cycles. Check them out on the web.